The moment the phone was placed against his ear, the gentle and sincere voice of his younger brother Oliver Lawson came slowly through the receiver, with just the right amount of gratitude and sincerity in his tone, perfectly replicating the persona of a well-behaved and grateful brother he had created in front of everyone over the years. Daphne, you have helped me so much over the years. From the early days when I started my business with nothing and running into obstacles, to now the company is stable and profitable and on the right track. It is all thanks to your support, and support all the way. Now that the company has completely established its footing, these 30% of the shares should belong to you, and you deserve it. My fingertips paused slightly, and I felt a bit of unexpected surprise in my heart. I am Daphne Lawson, divorced for 3 years and living alone with my 5-year-old daughter Emma. When I got divorced, I left my home, taking only my young children and all my stress with me. I was struggling to support myself with an ordinary salary, carrying a mortgage of several million, and living on a tight budget every day. My parents died young, and in a huge Lawson family, others say that Oliver and I are the closest siblings in the world, and we are each other's only support. During the 5 years since Oliver started his business, I have devoted all my energy to helping him. I used all the inheritance left by my parents to provide him with startup capital and stayed up countless days and nights to help him organize projects, connect resources, and take care of trivial matters. Even when the divorce was the most difficult and the mortgage loan was weighing me down, I never asked him for more than half of his return. I always tried my best to help him get to where he is today. Now his technology company is booming, and in the eyes of outsiders, he is young, promising, and wealthy. On the other hand, I am divorced with children in debt and living in embarrassment. In the eyes of everyone, I am the Lawson family who lives the most miserable life. I have never asked for feedback from him. I only hope that my only relative is safe and well. But now he offered to transfer 30% of the company's shares. This sudden gift was so heavy that it made me instinctively uneasy. Without any unnecessary hesitation, I packed up my belongings, asked the nanny to take care of my daughter, and drove to Oliver's company headquarters. The CEO's office on the top floor is exquisitely decorated and luxurious. The floor-to-ceiling windows show the bustling night view of the entire city, which is in stark contrast to my embarrassment and poverty life. In the center of the large desk, a stack of neatly printed and stamped share transfer documents were quietly placed. The terms were clear, and the format was formal. They looked flawless, as if they were a sincere gift. Oliver was wearing a well-tailored suit, with a tall and straight posture, gentle eyebrows, and a clean and pure smile on his face. His eyes, when he looked at me, were sincere and warm, just like the way he relied on me in the past. I walked slowly to the table, and just as I was about to lean over to read the contents of the document, the air in front of me suddenly floated, and rows of translucent red barges suddenly appeared, densely covering my field of vision. The words were sharp and the sentences were shocking, instantly shattering all the illusion of warmth in front of me. Emergency warning. Absolutely no signing. This is not a dividend-paying profit stock, but a management responsibility stock that binds all debts. Oliver Company has long been completely insolvent. With a book loss of over 100 million, hidden debts piling up like a mountain, it is already on the verge of bankruptcy. The joint and several debts of the company will be automatically assumed upon signing, and the entire 30 million huge debt will be 100% transferred to Daphne's name. All personal assets are frozen. The mortgage was enforced, the deposit was fully deducted, and my daughter Emma's school district housing qualification was immediately invalidated and seized. Divorced and raising a baby, I am in debt alone. My credit report is completely ruined. I will never be able to turn around for the rest of my life, and I am completely dragged into the abyss. The dazzling red barrage was layered and constantly refreshed. Every word accurately hit my current situation. There was no lie or exaggeration, and it nakedly exposed the fatal trap behind this share gift. My fingertips holding the black signature pen suddenly became stiff, and the tip of the pen hung above the signature line, without any movement. 30 million in debt. To me now, this number is a catastrophe, a bottomless abyss that can crush my and my daughter's entire lives. As long as I put pen to paper and sign, the life that I've worked so hard to maintain, the stability that I've fought so hard to protect, and my daughter's stable childhood and future will completely collapse and disappear in an instant. When Oliver saw that I was still not writing, the smile on his face became gentler. He stretched out his hand and gently placed it on the back of my hand. The palm of his hand was warm and the force was gentle, bringing with it the closeness and pampering I was familiar with. His tone was brisk, with a hint of affectionate joking, and he perfectly acted like a considerate younger brother. Why are you so dazed, Daphne? This share is my belated compensation. You can accept it with peace of mind. After signing, you can treat me to a big dinner tonight to celebrate that our brother and sister are getting better and better. The moment his palm touched the back of my hand, an extremely clear and unobstructed voice exploded in my mind, bright and sincere, forming the ultimate separation and conflict with the cold trap of the barrage warning. Daphne's life has been too hard. The divorce was plotted by her ex-husband, and she left the house with nothing. She raised Emma alone and grew up with a heavy mortgage. She lived frugally and wronged herself for 3 whole years. I relied on my sister to support my business. Now that I have a firm footing, I will never let her suffer again. The fixed dividend of this share in the next quarter will be at least $100,000, with a guaranteed minimum of several $100,000 a year, which is enough to help her completely pay off her mortgage and completely improve her and Emma's lives. My parents passed away early, and we only have each other left in the world. If I don't love her, protect her, and help her, who else will be truly kinder? The heart is hot, sincere and pure, and every word is full of heartache, guilt, and unreserved preference and help. My fingertips were completely cold. My heart was rising and falling violently in my chest, and an ultimate contradiction and suspense gripped my mind. In front of me is a debt trap that promises death. If you sign, you'll be saddled with a huge debt of $30 million, and your family will be destroyed. What I hear in my heart is my brother's unpretentious and extremely sincere sincerity. He only wants to help me, compensate me, and put me and my children out of suffering. The trap is completely contrary to the sincerity, and it is extremely stretched. There is no buffer or a transition. The suspense is stretched to the extreme, making me instantly unable to distinguish what is true and what is false. I always thought that family affection was my only remaining weakness and armor, and Oliver was the only relative in the world that I could trust unconditionally. But the fatal warning of the barrage is too real and too accurate, and it completely conforms to the logic of the commercial trap of share transfer. Once caught, it will be doomed. But the voice in his heart was too hot and sincere, without any calculation or malice. It was purely the most instinctive love and protection of his relatives. The two extreme truths collided and torn apart, and I was not at all entangled or hesitant or weak. I know clearly that there must be some unknown secret hidden in this, and there must be a third-party black hand who is obstructing it and deliberately planning it. This is definitely not Oliver's original intention, but it is actually a fatal scam that can destroy me. I lowered my eyes, covering all the emotions in my eyes, and kept my face calm. I let Oliver's palm cover the back of my hand, and my tone was calm, without any flaws. Really? Then I have to take a good look at the terms, so as not to cause a misunderstanding and let you down. Oliver was unprepared. His smile became gentler. His eyes were full of pure expectation. Look, all the benefits are prepared for you. There are no problems, don't worry. I slowly withdrew my hand, lowered my head, and reviewed the transfer documents on the table word by word, scanning every detail and line of notes with sharp eyes. In just 3 minutes, I thoroughly saw through the entire scam and instantly locked onto the only ultimate villain behind this family conspiracy and debt trap, my cousin Eric Lawson. The whole conspiracy, from beginning to end, has nothing to do with Oliver or the deep love between brother and sister. It is purely a vicious trap carefully planned and controlled by Eric. Eric has always been jealous of Oliver's talents and opportunities. He was jealous of Oliver's success in starting a business at a young age and his popularity. He was even more jealous that Oliver only had me as his biological sister in his heart. He always favored me, helped me, and left all his warmth and resources to me. He is narrow-minded, vicious, selfish, and greedy. He has been at the top of the company all year round, secretly controlling the company's finances, tampering with equity terms, and hiding huge debts. Taking advantage of Oliver's focus on business, ignorance of equity details, and only wanting to help me, he secretly planned and maliciously tampered with it. Oliver really wanted to transfer the profitable dividend shares, and he just wanted me to sit back and collect the dividends and improve my life, without any calculation. But Eric secretly replaced the document template, modified the nature of the equity, bound invisible debts, added joint and several liability clauses, and completely changed the pure welfare dividend stock into a responsibility management stock that bears all the company's debts. He was sure that Oliver was simple-minded, trusted his family, and did not understand the traps of business terms. He was sure that I was in a difficult situation, in urgent need of help, and could not check documents carefully. He was sure that as long as I signed, I would instantly be saddled with a huge debt of $30 million and be thrown into hell. His purpose was vicious and pure. First, to take the opportunity to destroy the sibling relationship between me and Oliver, making us suspicious of each other and turn us into enemies. Second, to use my hand to take over all the company's bad debts, to help Oliver block all debt collections, and to preserve the company's core assets. Third, after I completely collapsed and Oliver's mentality collapsed, he took the opportunity to annex the entire company and reap the benefits. Eric has no hard feelings, no secrets, and no room for laundering. He is pure viciousness, pure greed, and pure self-interest at the expense of others. He is the only mastermind and ultimate villain behind the entire incident. The moment I sorted out all the connections, the last trace of doubt in my heart completely dissipated, replaced by ultimate calmness and decisive killing. I will not be soft-hearted, entangled, internally conflicted, or sympathize with any evildoer. Sincerity is worth cherishing, but the trap must be crushed, and the evildoers must pay the heaviest price. I raised my eyes and looked at Oliver, still speaking in a calm and gentle tone, without revealing the truth or expressing anger. The terms of this document are too complicated and involve changes in equity and personal rights and responsibilities. I personally cannot sign it at will. I have contacted my exclusive lawyer and came over to verify it item by item to avoid subsequent disputes and let down your good intentions. Oliver didn't notice anything strange about me. He just thought I was cautious and prudent and nodded in agreement. Yes, you really need to be more rigorous. Just follow the arrangement. The voice in his heart sounded again, and he was still full of heartache. My sister has always been cautious, so it's better to prevent her from being wronged in the future because of equity issues. As long as she can live a good life, everything I do will be worth it. I calmly took out my phone and turned on the audio and video recording throughout the process, completely saving the current files, conversation scenes, and all evidence. It had multiple backups in the cloud, was permanently encrypted, could not be deleted, and could not be tampered with. It was the first-hand ironclad evidence of Eric's evil deeds under lock and key. Immediately afterwards, I simultaneously contacted the top commercial lawyer team, financial verification specialist, and legal evidence collection team, and rushed to the company to conduct a thorough investigation of the company's accounts, equity change records, debt flows, and clause modification traces. In just 1 hour, the complete chain of evidence was completely closed, and the evidence was irrefutable. All the evidence clearly shows that the company's $30 million hidden debts are all personal bad debts caused by Eric's private illegal investments, misappropriation of public funds, and secret operations. They have nothing to do with Oliver or the company's normal operations. The equity documents were secretly replaced and tampered with by Eric half an hour ago. He deliberately concealed debts, bound joint and several liabilities, and deliberately framed me as being responsible for huge debts. All operation traces, background modification records, financial flow tracks, and account login IPs all point to Eric himself accurately, without any deviation or room for scapegoating. At this moment, the office door was pushed open, and Eric pretended to walk in calmly, with a fake friendly smile on his face, pretending to be concerned. I heard that Oliver is going to transfer shares to you. It's such a deep brother-sister relationship. Congratulations to Daphne for her hard work, and she will never have to suffer again. There was an imperceptible malice and pride in his eyes. He was sure that I would sign into the game soon, sure that I was about to fall into the abyss, and sure that his whole plan was about to succeed. He even pretended to be kind and urged, "Hurry up and sign. We are all a family. Oliver sincerely cares for you. There is no need to be so cautious and suspicious. It will only hurt the family harmony." Looking at his poor performance, the corners of my lips curved into a cold arc. I no longer pretended to be gentle, and my eyes instantly became cold and sharp, full of murderous intent. I didn't say any nonsense, and directly through the entire set of evidence on the table, audio recordings, video recordings, accounting statements, modification records, and debt vouchers were all spread out in front of the two of them. A family? My tone was cold and biting, and every word was sonorous. Are you worthy of mentioning family ties? Oliver's originally gentle expression suddenly changed suddenly, and he quickly leaned over to look through the evidence. After checking each item, his whole body became stiff, his eyes were red, he was extremely angry, and his aura completely exploded. He finally saw clearly that the help and compensation he was so full of had been maliciously tampered with, used and calculated by his cousin, and he almost personally pushed his beloved sister into the abyss of eternal damnation. The anger, guilt, and self-blame in his heart surged instantly, and his voice was tight and hoarse. Eric, what on earth have you done? How dare you plot against my sister? How dare you tamper with documents, hide debts, and deliberately frame her? The false smile on Eric's face completely shattered in an instant. His face turned pale, his body became stiff, and the pride in his eyes completely turned into panic and confusion. He didn't expect that I would be so cautious and sober. Instead of blindly signing into the game, I would instantly collect evidence and directly expose his entire conspiracy. In panic, he began to quibble wildly, forcibly clear his name, and try to shirk responsibility. I didn't. This was a misunderstanding. It was a clause automatically generated by the system. It was a financial mistake. It has nothing to do with me. Don't accuse me unjustly. Misunderstanding. I sneered, pressing forward step by step, with full aura. Is it a misunderstanding to modify the records in the background? Is it a misunderstanding to embezzle public funds? Is it a misunderstanding to deliberately bind the terms of the debt? Is it also a misunderstanding that you deliberately framed me to bear a huge debt of $30 million and ruin my life and my children's life? I cut to the core with every word and every sentence, completely tearing apart all his sophistry and pretense, leaving him no room for excuses or buffers. The evidence was complete, closed, irrefutable, and ironclad. All Eric's lies were instantly shattered and could no longer be justified. Seeing that his sophistry was useless, he immediately changed his face and began to play the family card to morally kidnap us in an attempt to soften our attitude. We are all one family. Let's meet without looking up. I was confused for a moment too. I have no bad intentions. I just want to help the company avoid risks. Please forgive me this time. A moment of confusion? My eyes became colder and colder, without the slightest hint of emotion, tenderness, or pity. You deliberately planned carefully, sought wealth and killed people, ruined the lives of your loved ones, and cannibalized the family property. This is not confusion, but a vicious nature, deliberate evil, and unforgivable sin. From the beginning to the end, I didn't have any internal conflicts, nor did I forgive or compromise. I was clear-headed, decisive, and hardcore in fighting back throughout the whole process. When dealing with such kind of relatives who are deliberately harmful to others, have no bottom line, are greedy and vicious, there is no family affection and tolerance, no mercy, and no chance to reform. I signaled the lawyer on the spot to start a full set of accountability procedures. The high-density, all-around, and no dead-end process would start the ultimate crushing slap in the face. The climax of the plot would be progressive, and the whole process would be full. There would be no duplication, no light punishment, and no reconciliation. The first step is to completely invalidate the malicious equity documents and clear all false debt bindings. The lawyer issued an official verification statement on the spot, clearly proving that the equity transfer document was maliciously tampered with by others, the terms were false, and the debt binding was invalid. All joint and several debt liabilities against me were void, and the legal aspect was completely cut off from me, leaving no future trouble. My daughters and my real estate, savings, credit report, and academic qualifications were all intact, completely defeating Eric's vicious plan to ruin my life. The second step is to conduct a thorough internal liquidation, stripping away all authority of the evildoers and depriving them of all benefits. Oliver was completely furious, no longer caring about any family ties, and held an emergency meeting of the company's top management on the spot, publicly disclosing all evidence of Eric's evil doings, illegal operations, malicious calculations, misappropriation of public funds, and hidden debts. Everyone in the company saw clearly on the spot Eric's true face of being vicious, selfish, self-interested at the expense of others, and deliberately harmful to others, completely breaking his usual gentle and reliable persona. The meeting unanimously unanimously passed a resolution on the spot, permanently expelling Eric from all company positions, revoking all equity dividends, project authority, and financial control qualifications, freezing all company-related assets under his name, completely kicking him out of the company's core circle, and permanently banning him from participating in any business activities of the company. His career status, network resources, industrial dividends, and future earnings that he had worked hard for many years were all wiped out overnight and completely collapsed. The third step is ultimate financial accountability, full recovery of losses, and letting the bad guys pay their huge debts. The professional financial team accurately calculated that Eric's private misappropriation of public funds, losses from illegal investments, bad debts caused by secret operations, and company losses caused by malicious actions over the years totaled more than 32 million yuan. All debts, all losses, and all losses were caused by Eric's personal malicious operations. He was completely separated from the company and Oliver. All of them were born independently by Eric and paid in full. I signaled my lawyer on the spot to formally file a civil lawsuit, applying for property preservation, enforcement, and full recovery. The court filed the case quickly, verified it quickly, announced the verdict quickly, and executed it quickly. The entire process was smooth, the evidence was conclusive, and the culpability was clear. The properties, vehicles, deposits, and assets in Eric's name were all frozen, sealed, and auctioned in accordance with the law, and all proceeds were used to cover the company's losses and repay illegal debts. He went from being an elite with a good family and a successful career to becoming heavily in debt, losing all his assets, and losing everything overnight. The fourth step is to block the credit report for life, completely social death, and there is no possibility of recovery. After the court pronounced its verdict, Eric was officially included in the national blacklist of dishonest persons subject to execution and the permanent public list of commercial dishonesty. His personal credit report was completely scrapped, and he was restricted for life. Since then, he has been unable to get loans, start a business, join high-end industries, take high-speed rail flights, or have high-end consumption qualifications. His basic necessities, food, clothing, housing, and transportation are all restricted, and he has completely become a dishonest person at the bottom of society. All his connections, resources, reputation, and credibility were completely destroyed, and all his relatives, friends, partners, and connections were completely cut off and separated from him. No one helped, sympathized, or understood him. Everyone who once pursued him was close to him, and trusted him, shunned him, and was despised by everyone. He was completely reduced to the laughingstock of the whole city and the shame of his family. The fifth step is to implement criminal accountability, close the prison loop, and completely lock in the consequences. Eric misappropriated public funds, committed commercial fraud, maliciously framed, forged documents, and deliberately harmed the property and reputation of others. Many of his actions violated criminal laws. The circumstances were egregious, the evidence was conclusive, and the impact was far-reaching. After the civil liability investigation was completed, we simultaneously handed over the criminal evidence and started the criminal case filing process. Several crimes were punished at the same time. In the end, Eric was sentenced to a long-term prison sentence in accordance with the law. He completely lost his freedom and was imprisoned. He spent a long time in prison, suffering the backlash of regret, suffering and despair every day, and paid an irreversible ultimate price for his vicious greed. There is zero whitewashing, zero hardship, zero sympathy, and zero light punishment for the villain throughout the whole process. The ending is tragic and complete, with a perfect closed loop. There is no reconciliation, forgiveness, or goodwill ending. It completely conforms to the ultimate cool logic of evil being punished for evil. After the storm came to an end, true family love and sincerity finally came to fruition. Oliver thoroughly investigated all the problems and redrafted a new, pure profit-sharing equity agreement, without any debt binding, any traps, and no joint, and several liabilities. It was 100% real welfare equity. In front of all the lawyers, financial officers, and senior executives, he solemnly transferred 30% of the company's shares to my name, with a sincere attitude and a guilty attitude. Sister, it was my unclear knowledge and poor thinking that frightened you and almost put you in a desperate situation. I'm sorry. From now on, all the company's dividend income will belong to you, and I will do my best to help you and Emma completely escape from suffering and be safe and worry-free. This time, there are no traps, no calculations, no concealments, only the purest brother-brother love, the most sincere compensation and protection. I calmly accepted this belated gift. My heart was clear and transparent, and I no longer had any doubts. I never betray my sincerity, but I never condone evil deeds. I cherish my relatives who treat me sincerely and go to them in both directions. I will kill all the evil people who deliberately harm me and will never tolerate them. In the days that followed, I completely said goodbye to my life of embarrassment and poverty. My equity dividends were steadily received. I easily paid off all my mortgages, and I bought a house in a top school district for my daughter Emma, providing the most generous life and the highest quality educational resources. I no longer worry about life and worry about money. My life is prosperous, stable, and smooth, and every step is bright. Oliver completely eliminated the bugs within the company, rectified the company's atmosphere, and standardized the financial system. The company has become more stable and stronger, and its career has been advancing rapidly. The two siblings support each other, protect each other, and get better and better. On the other hand, Eric, the ultimate villain, ended up in the tragic situation of having his family ruined, heavily in debt, imprisoned, dishonest throughout his life, and never able to recover. He tried his best to harm others, benefit himself, cannibalize family ties, and steal profits. In the end, it completely turned back on himself, destroying his career, life, freedom, and future with his own hands. He was trapped in the consequences of his own creation for the rest of his life, suffering and having no peace. This ultimate game of family calculations, property disputes, and trap reversals finally ended perfectly with the destruction of the villain, the sincerity of the heart, and my comeback against the odds. I am always clear-headed, always decisive, always aware of good and evil. Sincerity will not be let down, and evil deeds will never be tolerated. For the rest of my life, my daughter and brother and I will be safe and sound every year. We will have a bright future, and everything will be bright. All malice will be far away, and all blessings will be gone.